Hi YouTube viewers, this is Vicious Animal Thing doing a little bit of a different review today. My alternator went out in my 2005 Ford Ranger with the 2.3 liter 4-cylinder, and I like to work on my vehicle myself, so I went ahead and replaced it myself. I'm going to give a brief review of the product itself, where I bought it, and also a small tutorial on how I put it in. I don't recommend you follow these directions for liability reasons, but if you choose to, do so at your own risk. The product that I bought, I did not buy a Motorcraft. It was the original alternator in it that went out. The vehicle's got about 85,000 miles on it. I chose to buy an O'Reilly, I believe it's an O'Reilly brand, O'Reilly Auto Parts. It's the Ultima new. This was $199.99. They have a rebuilt model for $179.99. Both have a lifetime warranty. I figured I might as well just buy an all-new one, although who knows what the actual differences are. Probably not much, but just in case I would get one that didn't have all the parts replaced, go for 20 bucks. I'm going to go with the new. So I can say I do have it installed now. Here is the old unit, and not in real bad condition. You know, it still spins. Just what was happening is, as I was driving down the road, the past year or two, when I would rev kind of higher up, sometimes the battery light would come on, and a couple days ago, it started coming on more frequently, and that's when I knew it was time to take action. And it actually started coming on at idle and pretty much in the rev range, and just today driving around to get these parts and get back and forth to work, it was basically just staying on all the time. I did do a little research, and many people found there were some things they could do with the wiring. I cleaned my battery terminals. I did some basic things, and I really felt like what was happening seemed like it was the alternator. At this point, it seems like I was correct, but I don't know for sure. The new alternator works fine. I did probably a 5 or 10 mile test drive, revved it up pretty good a few times, and didn't see the lights come on. I turned on all the lights and air heater and full blast and all that kind of thing to put a little load on it. But only time will tell, and I'll probably do a little update when I get a little more time with it. The alternator itself comes with a little pamphlet that isn't really much use. You know, some of this stuff, if you choose to follow it, you might be able to troubleshoot your issues, and I'm sure it's great information. I like to work on my own vehicles. I'm not going to say that, you know, this looks like about, you know, what your mechanic would do, so you know, it's a little beyond what I would do. I was hoping it might be an installation guide, but it wasn't. There's where it says backed by a lifetime warranty. Just the box again. I don't know, Ultima Select. I really don't know what that means. And pretty nice box. It came with a little packaging. The store did not have it in stock. Fortunately, another one in my city area did have it, and they brought it to this store. And I had in one day. Okay, what you're going to need is a flashlight is recommended, something to tap the alternator to break it loose once you get it unbolted, some pliers to undo a couple clamps, 3/8 inch socket, a wrench, 3/8 inch extension, small, 13 millimeter socket for the alternator bracket bolts, 1/4 inch drive socket wrench, 8 millimeter socket for the battery terminal, and a 10 millimeter socket for the alternator's positive lead nut, some screwdrivers, and I'll show you what I use this longer one for at the vehicle. I did hook up my battery because I wasn't sure of the state of its charge while I was working on it, so once I disconnected the negative, I went ahead and hooked that up and let it charge. One other tool that I highly recommend, O'Reilly and most of your auto parts stores these days have a loaner program. I paid for the tool basically, and as long as I bring it back, they're going to refund my money. So this is a belt tension tool. And one other vital tool, of course, is the obligatory shop radio, and a little extra light on the situation never hurts. Alright, step 1 is disconnect the negative battery terminal. Step 2, disconnect your air intake hose and unlatch the air intake box and disconnect that green plug right there, which goes to the EGR valve. And what you'll do then is just take this whole assembly and fold it over onto the back of the engine so it's out of the way. Next, disconnect the upper radiator hose and fold it back so that it's out of the way. A little coolant will leak out, but it's not much to worry about. The coolant could be very hot if the vehicle was running recently. Now you'll be ready to relieve the tension on the belt and remove the belt from the pulleys. To remove the tension from the belt, use the belt tensioner tool or something similar. It's basically a 3/8 inch socket on a long, thin bar. And in the belt tensioner itself, there's a basically 3/8 inch square hole that goes into, and this just basically gives you leverage to move it. And in this case, I would pull it towards the passenger side vehicle to remove the tension, and then you could remove the belt from the pulleys you need to. To keep the belt out of the way while I was working, this is where my large screwdriver came in. I just looped it around it and stuck it in. This was moved, but it basically rested on the manifold and the radiator shroud. After that, you're ready to start unbolting the alternator from the mounts. That's where the 13mm sockets will come into play. Go ahead and unscrew them and use your rubber mallet or something to gently tap on the alternator to unseat it. Then you can disconnect the plug and also that positive lead. Your next task will be to remove the alternator from out of the vehicle, and it's very difficult. It's a very tight space. So once the old alternator is out of the vehicle, installing the new one is just basically reversing the process. The only thing I really struggled with was getting the positive lead attached back to the alternator. There's not much slack with that cable, and with the eyelet, it would often slip off the post when you reach for the nut, and it's just a little game of back and forth. And after about the 5th time of trying it, I actually got it on there. So just remember to connect the other connector to the alternator. And for example, this connector right here is to the air conditioning compressor. I did pull that off because it runs with the same connector that the alternator has, and just gave me a little more slack. So this basically covers the process of replacing an alternator on a 2005 Ford Ranger with a 2.3 liter 4-cylinder engine. Start to finish, the job took about an hour to an hour and 15 minutes, and I would rate the difficulty somewhere between medium and easy, so maybe like a 2 out of 5. The most challenging thing by far was getting the alternator out and getting the new one in, just in this area right here, and then hooking up the positive lead. But overall, this was pretty minor as far as actual work involved. Just more or less a fun project that probably saved me $100 or something hiring to have it done. This is Vicious Animal thing saying thank you for watching, and I hope that I was helpful. And if you have any questions, please ask, and I'll do my best to answer them.